Hey guys, Adriana Jimenez joined here with Golden Boy executive David Tetreault. David, it's so good to see you. I got to say hello finally at the Ryan Garcia fight over in Texas, and now some time has passed. Good to see you again. Just first off, how are you doing? How's everything going?
Well, I'm doing absolutely great. It's great to see you again. I'm a big fan of your work, everything that you do for Fino Boxing as well as for Fox Broadcasting. It's great work, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
You must be busy. I know that with everything that's going on with Golden Boy, so much production, so much content, but you're also a professor at the University of San Francisco teaching a sports management course. Talk to me about that and how that correlates with everything that you're doing here.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. I was fortunate enough to be recruited by the folks in the sports management division at the University of San Francisco. It's a master's in sports management. It's one of the top schools for that program in the country. And I have an MFA and an MA, and it suited me very well to kind of take a lot of my work from the studios that I've worked for in the past, as well as my current job here with Golden Boy Promotions. So I teach a course in sports and entertainment, and this course covers everything from A to Z on how you put on a major sporting event. So I challenge my students by giving them a capstone project where they get in groups together, and they pick a sport of their choice and the event that they want to put on. So it ranges from some want to do the Super Bowl, some want to do e-games, some want to do MLS soccer, but we go through the course. I teach them all of the nuts and bolts that I've learned here, many of the nuts and bolts that I learned from my studio experience, and it's just a great experience, and I love giving back. I love interacting with the students. I love learning from the students. Since it's a master's program, many of the students are already working in the sports field. Some are working for the Anaheim Ducks, some are working for the LA Clippers, some are working for Cal State Northridge in their athletic program. So it's a real satisfying opportunity for me.
Well, they have a great teacher. You guys obviously know how to put up great events. And there's one coming up next, really, really soon on March 20th. Of course, Vergil Ortiz taking on Maurice Hooker. How excited are you for that fight to happen already?
Oh, we're incredibly excited. Vergil Ortiz, he is a diamond in the rough. I mean, he's gone from just being such a great fighter to an ultimate contender at this point. We look at that welterweight division right now, and we see the sky's the limit for him. His abilities, his capabilities inside the ring, his discipline outside the ring, his work ethic, and just his personality. He's such a good kid. His father has raised him so incredibly well. He's musically gifted. He's got the whole package. We're very excited about the fight, and we look for a serious victory.
Absolutely.
For Ortiz.
You mentioned he is such a well-rounded fighter in person. So many abilities and so many gifts that he has. And are we expecting to see some special content leading up to his fight?
I have this great team in my media and entertainment division here, and they put together this entire programming schedule that I oversee with them, but they have gotten so good at what they do. So we put together a program, mano a mano, where we look deeply into the fight. We interview the trainers, we interview the fighters, we interview the promoters, and we really get a good essence as to how the fight's going to come about. What are some of the behind-the-scenes tactics that the fighters may be taking into the ring? Then we move on and we do a breakdown show with Oscar De La Hoya and Mario Lopez. They sit down with Vergil Ortiz. They review some of his past fights. They go into his highlights, and it's a great interaction between the two of them. We do a day in the life where it's kind of shot raw, and we're really kind of visiting with the fighter for a day and kind of really going over what his various interests are, what it is that he enjoys doing, so that we're kind of exposing his personality and some of his background to, generating more fans and also to get, more interest into the fight.
Looking forward to seeing that, of course. And we've seen Golden Boy be active and produce content in all the social media platforms. How effective was the content distribution that you guys had through Facebook?
Oh, our partnership with Facebook is second to none. We have taken a very, very strategic path towards really carving out our Facebook Watch channel, which is Golden Boy Fight Night on Facebook Watch. And we work very, very hard on executing some of our top fights from the library. Oscar has a library that's almost 20 years old at this point. You're talking about 10,000 hours of content. My team goes in, they mine through that content. They're looking for some of the best knockouts, some of the best left hooks, and they'll break down some of the fights into mini fights. So you'll see an entire fight instead of in 45 minutes, you see it in 6 or 7 minutes. So those are some of the things that we do. We also we're working very closely with them on their Oculus, which is their virtual reality piece, and we're shooting different series that air every Friday night before our big fight. So we did one for Ryan, his past fight. We did one for Jojo, his past fight. We'll be doing another one for Virgil Ortiz, and that kind of opens up new fans that are in the gaming space. There's many things that we're doing, and a lot of the innovation just comes from ideas that are generated from my team, and they work on putting together these creative briefs. They outline their idea, they understand what they're doing, and if it makes sense, we approve it and we move forward with it.
Yeah. I think innovation is a perfect word for this, and it's very exciting to see everything that you guys have been producing. And I know Golden Boy has a deep stable of, I think, like 80 fighters or more. Do we expect to see some content more highlighting these young talents?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we did to really, because we have such a deep stable, and understood that we had to also really manage our algorithm on Facebook, on Instagram. It's so important because we generate a lot of revenue out of that. We opened up a Instagram and Facebook Future Stars account. So what we do with our Future Stars account is we dig into the stable. We start highlighting many of our younger fighters, our younger talents. We introduce them to new audiences, and we're getting more and more busy with that. We do as much as we can with the resources that we have, and also considering the pandemic and the way that we're doing things. But that was another innovation that came internally from discussions that we had with our partners at Facebook and at Instagram, and they made the suggestion, take a look at, what WWE does. They have like a Future Stars account, and that's very, very successful, and it's a way to kind of keep them moving. But when these fighters make it to any of our big fights and they're on the undercard, then they move up to the main page, and we kind of work it out that way. Yes.
And I feel that a large portion of these fighters that are under Golden Boy are of Spanish-speaking backgrounds. Can we expect more Spanish-speaking content to be brought out?
Absolutely. Luis Gonzalez, who is one of our producers at Golden Boy, he handles all of our Spanish-speaking content, and he produces several different shows where we're interviewing our talent in Spanish, and really working towards opening up that more, finding other platforms where it can be utilized. We're in discussions with different platforms that would kind of open that up for us and kind of give a bigger voice in the Spanish-speaking arena. So absolutely.
I know you mentioned, of course, the pandemic, that everyone has had to adjust in their own way. How did that affect the programming in 2020?
In 2020, it actually ramped it up. Because we were unable to really put on any live fights after Ryan's fight last February 14th, we had to figure out a strategy to keep the Golden Boy brand alive, to keep that Golden Boy brand vibrant, because there was almost 6 months between our next live fight. So we ramped up a lot of our programming. We did a lot of short form video, and it was done on a daily basis where we were just grinding out pieces of content every single day, putting them on all of our platforms, keeping that brand alive, keeping people interested in boxing, We kept up with our Spanish show, we're doing all of those different interviews. We worked with Oscar on different specials. We did a Cinco de Mayo special from here, live with Mario Lopez. We were doing anything that we could to, to take place of the fact that we were missing out on the ability to deliver live events because of the pandemic.
And how is 2021 looking? What are some of the challenges that you guys are facing, especially with the recent departure of Canelo?
Well, some of the challenges that we're facing is that if you look at the boxing world, the amount of fights that are still out there is not quite up to it was in, say, 2019 going into 2020. So we're working on getting additional dates so that we can get more fights out there. We're working on new opportunities with many platforms out there to create new live boxing series, and there could be some things on the horizon that could really kind of open the floodgates for that. But it's all takes time because a lot of our partners, they're on pause. They're kind of not into producing as much live content as they were in the past. But we're getting very close to kind of unleashing kind of a whole new slate of live fights in the very near future.
You guys kicked off 2021 with a bang. You guys had Ryan Garcia. He became the new interim WBC champion. Talk to me about the successes of that event.
Well, one of the great successes of that event is that it was one of the most viewed fights on the DAZN platform outside of a Canelo fight. So with that alone, we know that we have an incredible star in the stable. And then you take it to the performance of him in the ring, getting up off the canvas in the second round from a shot that really was questionable. It looked like it might have kept him down. He got up, he showed courage, and then he was able to knock out his opponent with an unbelievable body shot. And that story in itself just really kind of showcased the character of Ryan Garcia and the capabilities of Ryan Garcia inside the ring. It kind of put any doubt to his capabilities inside the ring. And then his cue, his TV cue outside the ring, and his ability to attract a new endorsement deal with Gatorade. He's doing stuff with 1800. He's doing great things with YouTube and his YouTube channel. The sky's the limit again for another young talent who's only 22 years old. He's got the world at his feet. And we're just ecstatic with who he is and what he represents to the sport. He has the ability to become the new face of boxing.
He lived up to it in the ring. He's been able to capitalize on social media. We live in a digital era. And how does Golden Boy use that to their advantage? How have you guys been able to succeed in this new digital world?
Well, when we're dealing with our fighters, and when you look at Ryan Garcia, he's a rarity. I think last year he was selected as the number 8 most influential athlete on Forbes magazine. And that's from all of the hard work that he's put into his social media and his social media videos and the way that he presents himself on air. With his success, we work very closely with a lot of our fighters on supplying them videos, creating programming opportunities, day in the life. We go visit them in the ring to create additional content. We adopted a whole new way of distributing our video to our fighters. We adopted the Greenfly app, which is used by teams like PSG, the Houston Rockets, many MLB teams. And it's a way to push video out to your stable or to your team. So if it's a Ryan Garcia fight, if it's a Jojo Diaz fight, if it's a Jaime Munguia fight or whatever, we can share that video with every single fighter in our stable, and we can request for them to post it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, and it's all automated. The same thing is we can actually pull video back from our fighters. So we can select 5-10 fighters a week and say, hey, we'd love to see you training and doing some jumping some rope, hitting the speed bag, or maybe when we want to see you cooking your favorite meal, send that video back to us, and then we'll post it accordingly on the accounts. So it's the Greenfly app is an incredible tool. We have all of our fighters up and running on that, and now we're implementing it at a high level.
looking forward to seeing everything you mentioned. It's so we live in a perfect digital world with so many opportunities that you mentioned. So definitely we'll stay tuned with Golden Boy and see all the content that you guys will bring out. David, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure, and like I said, you're great at what you do, and all the work that you do is it's excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.